Hello everybody, here we are, and this time we are mainly gonna be talking about. This time we are mainly gonna be okay. Coming back to the main point, I was just repeating whatever I said because I said something awkward. Okay, coming back to this, we are mainly gonna be focusing on three things: Ingress, ConfigMaps, and secret. And within an hour or 1.5 an hour, let's simply get all these things done. And once these things are done, then I'm gonna be learning new things about Kubernetes. So ultimately the volumes that is the only thing that is remaining right now. So after this I'm gonna be learning about volumes, and then at least we'll call Kubernetes 50% done, like DevOps section 50% done once all these things are done. But again, that is something yet to be done. So without any further delay, I hope I'm audible right now. Yeah, I'm audible. Let's get going from here on. So first of all, the thing that I want to discuss here, that is Ingress. But even before that, we definitely created a manual Ingress on or on. We properly created the Ingress file, creating Ingress manually, and then we started learning about Ingress. Right, and when it comes to this, we are gonna be creating a backend, and we will be creating a front end. By the way, backend and front end, both of them are same here, never mind. But ultimately, sort of, these are the things that we are gonna be doing, right? So yeah, just a minute, give me a moment. And this is gonna be part 1, not part 1. Let me make it a duplicate, and give me a second. I'm just gonna be getting started, and meanwhile let me just simply spin up the project. That's gonna be in the learning section, of course, the learning, and this is gonna be Ingress. Let's name this folder Ingress, and let's simply open this. What else? And coming back to this one, I need to go to the last section right now. Ingress config map, I think this is the one. And here what all I have learned. So Ingress and config maps, build arguments while building the Docker image. We have already gone through this link, so that's okay, fine. I think I need this one. And apart from this particular thing in the written form, this is mainly used for what? This is mainly used for creating the Ingress. So that's what I wanted actually. That simply means it's better to just simply get rid of it from here, sort of, or let it be, it doesn't really matter. Coming back to this, we have ingress.ml, backend manifest, frontend manifest, and the config map related stuff. Great. So what is the first thing that I have to focus on? The first thing is that I have to create an Ingress file. Okay, and for this thing we have talked about the services, downsides of services, Ingress and controller. Let's go through this. So an API object that manages external access to the service in a cluster, typically HTTP. That's great, fine, we have gone through it. Then Ingress controller, okay, fine. Ingress controller, the kube controller manager runs a bunch of controllers like replica set. The kube controller manager, okay, so ultimately main control manager of the Kubernetes, it runs a bunch of controllers like replica set controllers, deployment controllers, etc. To add an Ingress to your Kubernetes cluster, you need to install an Ingress controller manually, and it doesn't come by default in Kubernetes. Okay, and ultimately whenever we install some controllers, so that's going to be saved in etcd, that is the storage, and then at the end of the day it will be just simply running inside a node. So ultimately if there's any controller, that will be running in some node or the other. So this thing is done. Namespaces, this was the thing we have already talked about it, so we are not gonna be talking such. Like if I keep facing this, so it's quite common nowadays. Like most of the time I face the network issues. So as for the links, I must have it saved, I'm not sure, so let me just simply have this link over here /web. This link is gonna be saved here. I'm not gonna be visiting it right now, but definitely in the future I'm gonna be just visiting this. So this particular thing is done. And using Helm, install Helm, something like this. And using Helm, we can just simply get this, install HTTP, add Ingress, Helm repo, add Ingress, this Helm update, Helm, what is this? Just a minute, there is something called Helm, so I gotta know about this right now. So coming back to this, install Nginx, reload the page. So install Nginx Ingress controller with manifest. This guide explains how to use manifests to install F5 Nginx controller. Then create both common and custom resources and set up the role-based access control. Okay, fine. And git clone this. So ultimately I can clone HTTPS and all. This is how you can mainly get the controller using the manifest. And there's another way, that is Helm. That is something I'm yet to know about. So using Helm, install Helm. So this is the Helm website. What it does actually, I'll have to know more about it. So let me be back here. So a package is the best way to find, share and use software built for Kubernetes. So it will be used for installing the controllers and all. What is Helm? Helm helps you manage Kubernetes applications. Helm charts help you define, install and upgrade even the most complex Kubernetes application. Charts are easy to create, version, share and publish. So start using Helm and stop the copy paste. Helm is a graduated project. Okay, fine. So ultimately if I want to install this, so sudo snap install Helm classic. So once installed, unpack the Helm binary and add it to your path and you are good to go. Check the docs for further installation and all. Alrighty. Fine, let's go with this. There are two ways actually. First one is using Helm. So if I click on the installation right now, installing Helm from this Helm project, from the script, Helm has now an installer script that will automatically grab the latest version of the Helm and install it locally. So ultimately, yes, you can curl this bash if you want to live on the edge. Bring install Helm, Coco, okay, all these things, and then Debian or Ubuntu. So sudo apt get curl this, get the certificates and all. Do I need the certificates for this? Curl FSL and sign. Okay, never mind. Snap. Ultimately, there's simple way. Using curl, you can just simply install it and add Ingress Nginx HTTPS Kubernetes GitHub Nginx. Okay, what does this show us? See if I actually come back here. Ingress. Alrighty, bro. As for this Helm thing, I will be going through it later. Check if you have pods running and all. Default load balancer service. You will notice that if you use Helm to install Nginx Ingress controller, it creates a load balancer service for you. So kubectl get services all namespaces. So I'm gonna be getting a services. This never mind, can't really do anything. If it is like that's more than enough. Okay. I should be able to just simply speak here. Tell me the flow of Ingress controller and how the overall flow looks like from the beginning till the end. Great question. This is one of the most important concepts in Kubernetes networking, especially for the interviews and real world systems. Okay. Before flow, understand Ingress. Just come on, yeah, this bug is bothering me. Ingress is just a rule and config calls path APIs which service to route itself. Okay. Ingress controller. So first of all, we have something called Ingress. Just a rule config defines domain example.com path API which service to route to. So ultimately domain and where to route to. It does not handle the traffic itself. Got it? Ingress controller, a real running component or pod. So a real running component. Nginx Ingress controller reads Ingress rules. So ultimately it reads these rules, acts as a reverse proxy or load balancer, and then service routes traffic to pods. So yeah, there is a service that routes traffic to the pods, your actual applications. Now full flow end to end. You deployed Ingress controller Nginx. You deployed, then Ingress controller Nginx, Ingress resources, service pods, step by step request flow. So step, user sends a request to this DNS resolves myapp.com public IP. Request reaches load balancer /node depending on the setup. Then cloud EKS, JKE, etc. Load balancer service exposes Ingress controller. So Ingress controller is going to be exposed over here. This is nothing but the deployment that is running. Local kind minikube, node port used, request reaches to Ingress controller pod. Ingress controller receives a request, runs inside the cluster, that is the Ingress controller. So load balancer forwards the Ingress controller, kind of load balancer service exposes the Ingress controller, and then it runs inside the Kubernetes cluster for server. So Ingress controller receives request, runs inside the cluster, listens on port this, nginx HA proxy or traffic, and then controller checks Ingress rules. So Ingress rules, so rules host did this, okay, that's fine. Controller matches host name and all, forward to the service routes to the pod service. So it mainly for controller service, then pod and response back, and this is how it just simply goes on. Ultimately what is happening here, coming back to this one, so good that we have gone through it. As for Helm, as simple as that, and one of the pods, Ingress controller is running. This Ingress controller reads, so it just simply reads Ingress config, whatever configuration that we have, it just simply reads that. Alrighty, something like this. And once it reads the Ingress config, this is bad. Ingress config is gonna be somewhere here inside the pod itself. The balancer, so it will be exposed using the balancer. So whenever the request comes to this particular load balancer, it will be forwarded to the service. Connected and reconnected, not a problem. So I'm not sure, is it really bad right now? I hope so that network issue is not that bad, but even if it is, I can't really do anything. From next time onwards, I'll keep in mind that whatever live related stuff is, that gets done in the morning itself. Even they are inside this particular file. To know that, let me just simply paste it. I mean, this is the controller. I just want to continue with this. That simply means below that it has the service account. This is something I'm seeing for the first time. So it has service account, R2 mount service account token, okay, whatever. Then this is kind of related to service. Then again it has the labels and all, and just below that we have tokens as well. Just below that we have a role. Wow, I mean there can be many things here. I thought only deployment for replica sets, these are the only things, but there are many. So few rules are added here. Continuing from here, we have another role, and we have cluster role as well. Crazy. It turns out we can actually manage a lot of things. Cluster. We have the deployment. This is the most important part. So ultimately, Ingress controller is nothing but some deployment code. Ultimately, it starts some pods and all and runs the code. So deployment spec, these are the selectors. This is the template spec. I'm gonna be running what arguments are gonna be these, and environment variables are gonna be these. They are coming from name, pod name, value from field ref. There is something called field ref as well. We know about config ref, we know about secret, but there is something called field ref too. Alrighty, no need to understand the whole code, but ultimately there is job. You should be able to understand exactly how it's doing the job, getting the job done. Alrighty, these are the things here. What will I be doing here? Simple stuff. Let's simply copy it all. Once it's actually been copied, I'm just simply gonna be pasting it over here. So kubectl apply with this, simply run this. Turns out Docker is not on. So let the Docker engine start. It started. Coming back to this one, Docker process status, many things are actually running. The important thing is that among those many things, these clusters are running. So let me stop the local cluster that I have. So Docker stop, of course not Docker stop, kind, and the file name is gonna be local cluster, of course. So it should be deleted right now. Alrighty, this got deleted, but this much should not be enough. Even if I'm creating Ingress, so Ingress should be created on the cluster, inside the cluster, but I don't have that cluster here, so I'll have to even create a cluster. In that case, over here I'm gonna be creating EKS cluster, and inside this EKS cluster I'm gonna be creating EKS cluster.ml. This is the ML file, and this file will contain the code for creating the cluster. And for now I'm just simply gonna be copying and pasting this. Again, most of the things I got written by the AI. The thing is that you should be able to understand, and slowly as you keep using that, you will be able to write that on your own as well. Configure. Even if I have this IAM with the audit show, it just simply throws the error for some reason. So I can just simply remove these as well. Let me for the this time remove them, doesn't really matter. So I have this metadata, managed groups. I have my nodes. This is the name of the group, T3 small. Desired capacity is 2, minimum maximum. Whether if you want to keep that, keep it, otherwise don't keep it. ls, and what will I do now? EKS CTL create cluster. Again, I'm already connected to the directly, give the file name, and that should be enough. That's it. Is the problem. What is that? Error checking AWS STTC access cannot get a role ARN for current session operation for it is this. So ultimately it is unable to authenticate me. Interesting. In that case, EKCTL get STTC AWS STTC get caller identity. So that's what I want to check. AWS STS get caller identity. So I have user ID account. Hopefully it will not be problematic. So whenever I'm making a request, so EKS CTL create cluster F EKS CTL cluster ML. So what is the problem with this? Alright, it is getting created right now. So it will take some time to just simply get created, so no problem with that. And we actually have to get a lot of things done here on the go. So let's as soon as that is started. And apart from this, get rid of existing deployments. Next up, we want to do the following. What is the following? Okay, that's fine. Get rid of all the existing deployments in the default. So kubectl get deployments, kubectl delete deployment name. Okay, that's fine. Get rid of all the service in the default namespace. Don't delete the default Kubernetes service. That's right. Delete the old Nginx and Apache and all. That's fine. Load balancer this. Create deployment and service definitions. Deployment and service definitions for the Nginx image app. This is different from Nginx controller. That's right. So deployment, Nginx deployment default. I'm gonna be running Nginx over there, and there's gonna be a service as well. So ultimately what will happen that using these, they're gonna be exposed, won't they be? So what is actually happening here? Coming back to this is the Ingress controller, the top level Ingress controller I have, and that is fine. Apart from this particular Ingress controller, suppose this is the master, ultimately control plane. So let's not even worry about this, so it doesn't really matter. But I have these two things. First one is gonna be Nginx app. Second one is the HTTPD app or Apache app. So these are the two apps that I have, and ultimately what will be happening inside them? Inside them, I would have a service kind of app running. So ultimately, this can be any app, that doesn't really matter. Once I have this particular app running here, I will have a service. So just in here, I will have a service. Once I have a service will be exposing this on the node, and Ingress controller, from the Ingress controller, the request will be reaching to this particular service. So this is how the things are gonna be going on. So whatever service I have to this particular service, from the Ingress controller, the request will be going. Something called cluster IP that is used for exposing internally, and this is the node. We want to forward the request from here to here. That simply means they need to expose using cluster IP. So I'm gonna be doing the same. and it will be running on port 80. So from here the request is gonna be coming here on port 80. From port 80 the request will be forwarded. Same thing is gonna be happening on this one as well. So this is the overall thing right now that should ideally happen, but we have to see it in action. So first of all, we are going to be creating the Ingress controller, then we are going to be creating both these, and once these are created, then we are going to be just simply running them. The request will be forwarded from Ingress to these. So this is how it's going to be going on. As for right now, Ingress, that app is still getting created. So in that case, I'm going to be saying that I'll have my Nginx app. Let me make it Nginx app, and I will have Apache app. I don't know what is this HTTPD. What is HTTPD? For Hypertext Transfer Protocol daemon is a software program that runs in the background of a web server to handle incoming requests and start server web content users. While HTTPD is a generic term for any HTTP daemon, it is most commonly used to refer as Apache HTTP server. Daemon process. It runs as a background service, daemon, waiting for clients' requests to usually from web browsers without requiring direct user interaction. Protocol handling. It primarily uses HTTP and HTTPS protocols to transmit data like HTML documents. Images, and videos. Request management. When a user enters a URL, the HTTPD process receives the request, retrieves the corresponding files from the server storage, and sends them back to the user's browser. Okay, common implementation. Apache HTTP server, often referred to simply as HTTP, on systems like Red Hat and CentOS. It is one of the world's most popular web servers. Nginx, a high-performance alternative that also functions as an HTTPD daemon. Light HTTPD, a lightweight web server optimized for speed and low memory uses. OpenBSD HTTPD, a secure by default implementation included with the OpenBSD operating system. Uses and configuration. Binary name. In many Linux distributions like Fedora or the executable file and service name are literally HTTPD. On others like Ubuntu or Debian, the same software is often called as Apache 2. Main configuration. The primary settings for Apache version of HTTPD are found in a named HTTPD config. Controllers tools on. Mostly right now I'm just simply focusing on the explanation part and all. I am focusing on being able to understand, but ultimately what you are gonna be doing when you are working with HTTPD, so ultimately you will have the API version here. So you will have the API version, you will have the metadata, just like this, and apart from metadata you will have the spec, and inside the spec you will have the container. Inside the container, inside the container you will specify the specs and all, and this is how it's gonna be done. Then just below that you will be creating service that will be exposing it. So overall things are clear exactly how many things are gonna be. Nginx deployment, default replicas to selector match labels app Nginx, and the namespace ports number is gonna be this, API version, service metadata, or it's better to just simply write that. So the Apache as well. Let's focus on writing it. Well, even if I'm gonna be having a look and write, but ultimately this is how it's gonna be going on. Alright, so first of all, API version, as I said. So this API version is gonna be mainly for deployment. If I want to create a deployment, so the API version is mostly apps v1. So this is these API versions are by default. Apart from this particular thing, I need to have a kind. That's gonna be nothing but deployment, just like this. Apart from this kind, I need to have the metadata. Inside metadata, I can have the name. So name is gonna be this is the HTTPD. So HTTPD deployment, that should be enough. And just below this, I'm gonna be having namespace. So this namespace is gonna be created, and the namespace is because, and just selectors. The thing is that I have the replica. Then how will my replica set? Will be selecting the pods. So I will have a selector for that, and the selector is gonna be selector will be matching the labels. So match labels. Again, there is a. Let me do one thing. I cannot really. Oh, I can turn it on, right? Let's do it like this. Again, one more time. API version. Hey, I should be getting suggestions, yeah. Okay, API version apps v1, and as the AI suggests, I'm gonna be just simply accepting the right suggestions, and this way I will be explaining and going on, right? It's no use writing the things from scratch. So API version is gonna be this. Then second thing is that, oh well, that's bad actually. It wrote the whole thing. The app, that's gonna be the name, and the image is gonna be HTTPD latest, and port number is gonna be 80. So this is gonna be running on that, and just below that, I'm gonna be creating a service. A service will be kind of the cluster IP service. So kind of service metadata is will just simply contain the name over here. So metadata will contain the name HTTPD service. Namespace is gonna be HTTPD team spec selector HTTPD app. Ports are gonna be TCP, and then 8080 should be here. So port, normal port, that port it will be running on, that's gonna be 80, and the target port is gonna be 80, and this is gonna be type of well, this is going to be the type of cluster IP, just like this. Well, cluster IP, I think this is how it should be fine. Why do I need cluster IP? Because I need to expose it inside the container only, sorry, inside the cluster only it needs to be exposed, and that is why I need to have that. So ultimately overall things are clear. Again, I wrote it with the help of AI. You can do the same here. I mean, it doesn't really matter. The thing is that, are you able to understand what's been written by the AI? So the kind is the deployment, the name is this, namespace is this, replicas to replicas I want. How will my replica set will be selecting on the basis of this label? Am I setting this label? Definitely I'm setting the label over here. So whenever the template is being created, the label is being set. No need to worry about this. And then these are the things done. And similarly API version kind service, then metadata is just simply over here. So this is the name for the service, this is the namespace of the service, and the namespace of the deployment, both are the same right now. How will it be selecting on the basis of this? So ultimately, how will the service be selecting the ports on the basis of this particular label? What are the ports? The protocol is gonna be TCP. Port is gonna be normal port that on which the service will be running, that is 80. Target port, the target port in the sense the port of this particular HTTPD, that is 80. So the target port is 80, the type is the cluster, and that is it. Same thing is gonna be happening with this manifest.ml. So ultimately, I will have the API version over here. Hopefully I'm gonna be getting API version, then deployment. So kind of, yeah, that's what I wanted. Let's see whether it is right or not. First of all, let me focus on this. So API version, this deployment is gonna be this metadata, and name is gonna be Nginx deployment. Namespace Nginx team, Nginx team, that's fine. Replicas 2, I want 2 replicas, match labels, and app Nginx. By the way, I don't even want 2 replicas. Even 1 replica is going to be enough over here, because if one pod of that is running, that's enough. But okay, let's have 2 of them. App Nginx template. Yeah, namespace is gonna be Nginx team. Then I will have spec. In the spec, do I really need to have the spec? Oh well, this is gonna be bad. Inside this spec, I'm gonna be selecting the selector, right? Selector is gonna be this, port is gonna be this. Yeah, that's right, fine. I'm happy with that. Alrighty, so this much I've done. Again, I don't remember it. Honestly, I don't even think I need to remember this. It can easily be written, but I definitely understand each and everything over here. And now, what is the use of remembering it? Yeah, if I remember it by writing, that's great. Otherwise, that doesn't really matter. Alrighty, so these 2 deployments have been written over here, and their services. And the third service, that was this load balancer. So ultimately, my app has already started here. Ultimately, the cluster has started. So ls get nodes. So I have this particular, I have 2 nodes running provided by AWS, of course. And once I have them running here, get pods, I don't have any running. Get deployments, I don't have any running. So right now I'm gonna be running what? I'm gonna be running the controller. I will be getting the Ingress controller over here, and Ingress controller will get the configuration. Again, I will be telling exactly what it does and all, but will get the configuration from here. What it is saying, the kind is the Ingress. Metadata is gonna be web app Ingress. Well, metadata is gonna be web apps Ingress. I can say, yeah, that's fine. Web apps Ingress. Namespace is gonna be default. Annotations is gonna be this. That's fine. Ingress class name. There are some rules over here. It is just simply saying that this is gonna be the host URL, and if the request comes to this particular URL, and going forward from here, if that is the HTTP request, and if the path is slash backend, the request will be forwarded to what? If the path is slash backend, the request will be forwarded to backend service, and the service name is backend service. So ultimately, if the request AI gives me right here, so ultimately we have to create this. So API version, hopefully it will be able to get the idea. KTH kind is gonna be Ingress over here. Metadata is gonna be app Ingress. Such a good name. Namespace is gonna be Nginx team. Wow. This Ingress is for what? I am not gonna be giving it any name over here, by the way, like namespace. Namespace is gonna be default here if it is actually suggesting me. So let me set the namespace default. Annotations are gonna be this. Spec rules. What are the rules? If the request comes to this, so what is gonna be this? The request is going to be I'm gonna be creating Ingress for both in the sense for the front end, like for HTTPD as well as for Nginx. So I'm just simply gonna say apps dot coding the code dot site. If the request comes to this HTTPS path, if the path is gonna be what? If inside the paths it is just simply loading, so soon it's gonna be giving me suggestions and all. So in that case, paths, it is not giving many suggestions. Let's not worry about that. I'll have to just simply configure it here only. So inside the path, there's gonna be path here, and when it comes to path, if the path is equals to HTTPD, that's right, by the way, why it just stopped. If the path is equals to HTTPD, then this slash, if the path type is this, then it will be forwarded to HTTPD service that is running on port 80. That's what I wanted. Just below this, if the path that I have, the path is equals to slash nginx, then it will be forwarded to this. So this much we have done. So this is the overall Ingress configuration that I have created, and that is it. There can be both the ways. You can create many hosts over here. Hosts in the sense, if I actually show you this, then you could have created another host called backend coding the code.site, that and it will be checking the path that is equals to slash. So ultimately you can create many hosts, and they redirect different URLs. And right now I have only one URL, and that with the help of the path type, I'm just simply redirecting the URL to the specific app. As simple as that. So that is it. I'm gonna be, by the way, trying both. First of all, let's try this thing out whether it works or not. Right now I already have the load balancer, if I'm not wrong, because it's been created. Not really, Ingress hasn't started yet, so I don't have the load balancer yet. So once I have this Ingress, and hopefully I'm not apps coding the code.site, so I have to forward the request to this one. Okay, fine. Let's try this thing out. So this is the Ingress that I have, ls. So the request comes to the load balancer. Load balancer will be responsible for forwarding the request here whenever the request reaches here. As the request comes from the load balancer, the request type remains the same. So ultimately, if the request was this, ultimately all the time the request is gonna be coming to this only. So if the request comes to app.coding the code.site, it will recognize that request came from this only. Okay, fine. Let's try it right now. So k get nodes, I have 2 nodes running. K get pods, I don't have any. ls. Right now it's time to start the controller. So what do I need to do first? K apply complete ML. So combined manifest, create a combined manifest with all the API objects, so Nginx, so such as this, to your IP address, that's fine, and then I should be getting the result. What I want over here, K, it is taking time, right? Turns out I am facing the network issue really badly. I turned the notifications off, so I didn't really come to know, but yeah, I'm facing that. Oh, error connecting, never mind, let me connect again. Error connecting. Not found. Error when creating HTTPD manifest namespace HTTPD team not found. So it is just simply saying that namespace HTTPD team that does not exist. Yeah, I missed it actually. Before even creating the manifest of the HTTPD, I'm supposed to be creating that namespace at the top that I haven't done. Just at the top, API version 1, I wanna create the namespace. So kind namespace metadata, and the name is gonna be what, HTTPD team, and anything else that is required, or this much is, I don't know if there's anything else I need, or this much is enough. Let me have the example of a namespace here. I must have, here it is. So in namespace usually what we need, API, not this one here, namespace, this is the namespace. Well, namespace backend team, this is how it's added. How about creation? So kubectl namespace, this is how I created initially. How can I create it again? Not the right way to create the namespace. So back, nope, not this one. Yeah, literally I don't have namespace here. Such a bad thing. I don't have the example of the namespace, and I think the and how, where can I look for the example, better one? Ingress is here, project. Before the deployment, you need to make sure that you have the namespace. /code, let's simply paste it. So this is how namespace is created. Namespace YAML config. So you have to just simply copy and paste, and that's it. You will be done. Cut it from here, by the way. Paste it here, or not really, like this. Namespace YAML config. Alrighty, so this particular thing is done. And coming back to this, the namespace is here. I'm gonna be creating the namespace for the Nginx app as well. It hasn't been created here yet. And API version is gonna be 1, kind is gonna be namespace, metadata is gonna be name Nginx team. So this is the namespace created, and that same namespace is being used over here. Right now, if I try to run the same command, apply https manifest, it should be working. So it has been created. Let's apply Nginx app manifest. So k get pods. By default, I'm not gonna be getting any pod if I'm not wrong. Yeah, and k get pods. If I just get the pods by the namespace, so Nginx team. So I'm gonna be getting 2 pods here running. They are running right now, and HTTPD team, 2 pods are gonna be running from the HTTPD side as well. So great. These things are here. Last thing is that as the apps are already running, so no need to worry about that. I have to just simply start the Ingress controller, and I have to apply Ingress configuration. So let me apply this Ingress configuration first of all. Apply file gonna be ingress/ingressml. So once it is applied, so Ingress networking it is app Ingress created. So k get pods, no sources, k get services, no services. So ultimately this is just the configuration that's been created. Now whenever I run my Ingress controller, at that time Ingress controller will pick this configuration, and using this it will just simply start routing this stuff. So let me just create the Ingress configuration. For creating the Ingress controller, for creating the Ingress controller, this is the URL that you need, by the way, that's not here. So coming back to this one, this is the Control C, this is the URL that you have to apply. So kubectl apply. So if I just simply paste it here, so ultimately in this particular URL you get this whole configuration for starting the Ingress controller. Why is it taking time? Of course, because of the network issue. That is something bound to happen, but I can't really do anything. So this is the Ingress controller that I have. Again, that's nothing but the code written here. I'm gonna be copying this and I'm gonna be applying it. So k apply, the file name is gonna be this, kubectl apply this. Let's simply run this. So it should be creating the Ingress controller. Let's wait for a while. It has created a lot of things. You can just simply go through them. If I say k get deployment right now, deployments. So wait, I think it has the type, right? The type is let me check the type. Does it have the type namespace ultimately? So namespace, yeah, it does have the namespace called Ingress Nginx. So I will have to check the things using this namespace. Directly it's not gonna be visible. Great. So I wanna get the deployments of this particular namespace. Let's run this. So I have this particular Nginx controller running. Great. And if I try to get the replica sets, I have this replica set running. If I try to get the pod, there should be one pod as well running. That will be using Nginx configuration. So Nginx, by the way, 3 things are running. Ingress, Nginx, admission, create this controller. Ultimately, there is a controller and there are these 2 things. Okay, ultimately, these are the pods that are running from the Ingress controller side. What they'll do, the request will come to these pods. They will be just simply forwarding the request. As simple as that. So by the way, 2 are completed. One of them is running, and I think this controller is mainly responsible for getting the requests and then forwarding it to the right pod, right service. Alrighty, this particular thing is done. Let's deployments of the HTTPD team. So I should be getting the deployment of the HTTPD team over here. Again, because of the network issue, it's hard to just simply go through the stuff, but yeah, I am getting that. Similarly, I wanna get the replica sets. So RS. So this is the replica set. Similarly, I should be getting the pods as well. So these are the pods. 2 pods are running of HTTPD app. Similarly, you can go with the stuff of deployments Nginx team. So you are gonna be getting the something's wrong with this Nginx team. Error server doesn't have resources deployment, so that spelling is wrong actually. Deployments. So yeah, 2 deployments, 2 replicas are running right now. If I talk about the replica sets, so yeah, I have that. And lastly, talking about the pods, I have the pods as well. If I talk about the config maps, I haven't created any. So kget config maps. Do I have any? I don't. I just have only one cube root cert and all. That is by default. And kget namespaces. So I have these namespaces. I have Nginx team. I have a cube system. Let's forget about these. These are by default. I have Ingress Nginx, that is for the Ingress controller. I have HTTPD team, that is for HTTPD team. Yeah. So this is the default Kubernetes cluster service that I have, cluster IP, and then the kget svc namespace, and that's gonna be Ingress. What was the name? Ingress Nginx, right? Nginx. Yeah, let's run this. I should be getting some services over here. Alrighty, let's have a look at them. So first one is Ingress Nginx controller. That this is a load balancer that is created, and I have this particular load balancer here. So let me do it. This load balancer got automatically created from the Ingress controller side, so you did not have to do anything, and ultimately it is exposing the service on port 32680. Service is running this. Even if you actually have a look here, so the cluster is already created, it is active and running. And if I go to the home screen and let me click on EC2 here, inside EC2 there is something called load balancers. So this load balancer automatically got created. So if you actually click on this, so it has the same configuration. So inside listeners, if you click on manage listeners, so here you are listening for the request at port number 443. It should usually be HTTPS over here, but I will do it when I'm adding the certificates and all, but for now this should be fine. And if the request comes to this 443, it is redirected here. If the request comes to 80, it is redirected here, and both the times it is just simply walking. Okay. That simply means this is the load balancer URL that I have, that I got. The same you can get from here as well. This is the same. You can either copy it from here or copy it from the website. If I paste it here, what will happen? I should be redirected to something. Well, I should not be. Why? Because at last I have to add a backend. But will this work? No probability. Sorry, not backend. Yeah, HTTPD. HTTPD. Will this work? Not really. If I add Nginx, no. Why it's not working? What I think, mainly because I have said that in my Ingress ML, I said that the request should be coming to this, not that load balancer DNS that I got. Okay, so I'll have to go to my hostinger, but the problem is that hostinger usually takes time to just simply get the configuration done. So hopefully it will be quick this time. But let's see how it's gonna be going on. Click on domains, go to codingthecode.site, click on DNS and name servers. I'm gonna be selecting CNAME over here, not selecting it because I have the DNS name here, and by default it is apps. Great. So let me name it apps. Target is going to be what? Target is going to be this particular URL that I have here, DNS actually. So coming back to this one, paste it over here, add the record. The record is added. Now instead of sending the request to this one, I'm gonna be sending the request to apps.codingthecode.site/httpd. Will I get the result? No chance, because I think it is still configuring the stuff. So to make it easier, I think this should be working. I don't know whether this is gonna be working or not, but let's give it a try. So sudo vi /etc/host works with the IP addresses and all, but here I don't have the IP address. Rather, I'm just redirecting a DNS to DNS. Oh, don't know whether it's gonna work or not, but worth giving a try. So copied, and it should be redirecting to codingthecode.site. That's it. So yeah, that's it. Save it, and right now if I try to make a request, well, it doesn't really seem to be working. So it turns out I don't have any another way except waiting for this. By the way, whatever we had to configure, we have already configured. So there's really nothing extra that I can do. The only thing is that waiting for it so that it starts working. And there are some good configuration files here. So this is kind of another project altogether, another project that I have created. I'm gonna be saving it as well for the future references. That is it, nothing else. But I know it will work, but when it will work, maybe after half an hour, because by that time hostinger will have, this DNS will have been configured. And that is it. By the way, there is one issue here, and that is this does not work directly. I'm just simply saying that whenever I send the request to apps codingthecode.site, let me even paste it. So that's the same configuration I have here, right? So apps codingthecode.site. If the request comes to this, I want it to forward the request here, but it doesn't work for the what? It doesn't work for DNS, and that's the main problem. apps.codingthecode.site/httpd not found. How about Nginx? Not found. So yeah, they are not found. I have to just simply wait for some time. Alrighty, apart from this particular thing, this is already done. The next thing that we are gonna be talking about, that is ConfigMaps. That is quite easy. Well, as this is gonna be taking time, so let's talk about the ConfigMaps. And when it comes to the ConfigMaps, so I can directly expose it. Do I need any environment variable for that? as I already have the URL, right? Don't I do have the URL here. So I'm just simply gonna be saying that if the request comes to this, that's great, and that's gonna be another host that I will be creating here. So let me create another host over here. I'm gonna be creating a backend app, and for that thing I'm creating this host. So that's gonna be another host, and that's gonna be this. By the way, the host is going to be backend dot path is gonna be the home path this time. So as for the path, that's gonna be the home, and should be getting some suggestions here. Yeah, I have to redirect it to the I'm gonna be creating a backend. That backend will be using the environment variables, and as we already have everything set up, so we can just simply continue with this thing. Why am I doing it? Because hosting is gonna be taking some time to just simply configure the stuff. Meanwhile, we can do this thing. So yeah, so inside paths, I'm gonna be having a path just like this. Path is gonna be home, prefix is gonna be this. Let's see whether it is right or not. So this is the another host. It is gonna be monitoring two things. It is gonna be checking the request on this particular DNS and ultimately URL. Whenever the request comes to this one, it will be mainly checking two things, HTTPD and Nginx. And apart from this particular thing, I have another one, backend coding the code.site. If the request comes to the slash path, that simply means the root one. In that case, I have to redirect it to the what? I have to redirect it to the backend service. Now, of course, I need to create the backend. That backend service will be running on port 80, that is for sure. And don't really have any problem with this. But right now, we will have to create another one that is called backend. So we have these things. I'm gonna be creating another backend folder here, and inside this I will have manifest.ml, and let's create a deployment. Before even that, I will have to create the namespace, so API, and hopefully it will be giving a lot of suggestions here, and it will never get over. Yeah, but okay, it is good in at least in this particular case. API version, give me suggestions here. Gonna be creating the names API version, and v1 slash kind is gonna be namespace backend team, and then I'm gonna be creating a deployment. So deployment API version apps v1, it will not give me suggestions. So okay, version apps v1 kind deployment metadata backend deployment time is gonna be this. Namespace is gonna be backend team. Specs is gonna be replica 2. I want 2 replicas of my backend. I actually want only one, but okay, if 2 are running, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, I just want only one, right? But okay. Selector, match labels, app backend, template, metadata, labels, app backend, spec, containers. What container will it be running? Backend app. What image? Backend. This I will be replacing, and image is gonna be this. Ports. My backend is gonna be running on port 3000 actually, so it's gonna be running on port 3000. Then I'm gonna be creating service and API version. This is gonna be a cluster IP service here. So backend service, backend team, spec, selector, such a good thing. AI is great. By the way, API service, metadata, backend service, namespace is gonna be backend team. Spec is gonna be on the basis of this particular selector, it will be selecting ports. When it comes to the ports, protocol is gonna be TCP. Port, the service will be running on port 80. Target port is gonna be 3000. This is gonna be the cluster IP. We have everything's written. Alrighty, everything's right. But there is a problem. There is no backend image. So for this thing, we will have to create our backend just right here. So let me do one thing. Let me create oops for DevOps part, and I'm gonna be keeping all these folders inside this. All these folders are gonna be inside. Yeah, just like this. This, and this. So ultimately all the folders are gonna be inside oops, and I'm gonna be creating a backend, real backend, where I'm gonna be using the environment variables and all. So backend, well, not running yet. It's okay, we'll go through it. First of all, let's focus on creating the backend. So cd cd backend. What time is it? 5:46. Okay, never mind. We can continue. We can continue till not till eternity, but as long as it takes. So right now, what I have to do inside backend, I don't really have anything. One init y for all. Is it good to use one over here? Environment variables and by the way, I didn't check one thing. Coming back to this, have I mentioned everything related to the Ingress or not? I think everything is already mentioned over here, so we don't really need to worry about it. The next thing is that we had to just add a few things related to the config maps and secrets. Okay, never mind. So yeah, bun init this. So inside bun, if I'm gonna be getting everything using process.env, doesn't really matter. Let's go with this. So this is done. ls. So everything is initialized. That simply means I can go to this one, index this. I'll have to change this a little bit. There should be DOM here as well, and then I will not be getting the error. Once this is done, I'm gonna be importing some things. So bun add express and bun add the types / express as a dev dependency. So this is how it's gonna be going on. And yeah, we even need one thing that's gonna be .env. Not right now, but definitely in the future, because directly I cannot get the environment variables if I'm not using .env. So let me import .env, later I'll see. So bun add .env. So that's gonna be here quite quick. Anything else? Nothing else as such. Okay, great. So simple backend import express from express. Well, not these many things here. Const express app. Port number is gonna be this. Well, right now it's better. It's a good idea to turn it off. I just needed the help in the configuration part. I don't need the help right now. So what I want that the port number, it should be getting directly from process.env.port. Whatever configuration I pass, it should be getting that from there only. App.listen. Port is gonna be this. Well, it should actually be port, and CLG. Server is running on port, and the normal port. Alrighty, this port will be, if I have the port, that's great. If I don't have the port, this server, it will not even start. Apart from this particular thing, I'm gonna be passing one more thing, and that's gonna be const development. Oh, what can I do? Is development, and that's gonna be process.env.node.env. So let's have this node env here. So const node env, that's gonna be equals to process.env.node.env. Once I have both of them, I'm gonna be logging them here as well. So port is gonna be equals to, this is just for the testing purpose. So we are gonna be learning about config maps, how config map works and all, and just for the learning purpose and all, we will be creating proper nodes and what else. So port is gonna be equals to port CLG, and node env is gonna be equals to node this. Where's the good night? Alrighty, node env, just like this. Once we have done this much, we will have a route here. So get slash just one route, and that will be returning me the response. Yeah, so request from the express side, response from the express side, response dot status 200 dot json message, not message. I'm gonna be sending two things from here. First one is gonna be port, so port is gonna be equals to port and node env is gonna be equals to node env. So these are the two things that are gonna be returned. Why? Just for the testing purpose again. Alrighty, so this is the simple backend we have. Let's create a Docker file to just simply create the image out of this. So Docker file, the image is going to be created in 2 steps or probably in 1 step only. Build stages I'm talking about. So when it comes to the image, so yeah, it can be created in 1 stage only, so no need to create it in 2 stages. So what will I be doing? I want to bun image, so from oven/bun1 I have the image, work dir, that's gonna be app, and copy package package dot json, or if I have log file then package dot json, everything to this one. Once I copy it, so run bun. Right everybody, welcome back. Didn't know that it was disconnected. When it got disconnected, I mean how long ago? I hope it just got disconnected right now, then I just came back. Okay, coming back to this one. So I was just about to search this, how to copy more than 1 files in one go in Docker file. How to copy multiple layers using this. So directories are special. If you write a copy, that actually works like copy dir everything, and here this like this. If you want, so readme package.json this to this, so ultimately it will work. So what I want, that I don't need to use this comma here, rather I just wanna make this / and that would do the job. Alrighty, so one install is done. Once I've got all these things, I'm gonna be installing it. Once I have installed this, after that, what I want here, I'm gonna be copying few more things. Probably I need ts config.json in the current directory, and I need copy index.ts in the current directory. So I have index.ts, I have this. Okay, almost everything is already done. And lastly, expose port is gonna be 3000, cmd command is gonna be bun, and dev, well I don't really have that, so bun index.ts, that should be just doing the job. And overall, let's see whether it is actually right or not. If it is right, it will be able to create it. What else? I will have docker ignore file over here, and node modules are gonna be ignored, and I will be ignoring docker file itself, and I will be ignoring for now at least this much. Later I'll see. Even git ignore. Let's see. Close this. Coming back to this one, ls. Let me build this image. So docker images, these are the images that I have right now. I'm not even using let me do one thing. I haven't even run this, so I don't really know what it returns and all. So what I'm gonna be doing here, that bun dev will just simply run this, but dev does not exist. Node environment is this, the code is running on this. Great, it is working. What is the next thing? The next thing is that it can even, I can get all these things inside the environment variable, but even if I have them inside environment variable here, it will not directly work. So env port is gonna be 3000, and node env is gonna be development Let's try to run this. It will not work directly. I will have to use a oh, it works. Wow. It does work. So in one, don't we need to import using .env? Turns out yes. I mean, here you don't need to use .env. Don't we need to? Where is this? Is here. Don't we need to use a .env to get the environment variables when I'm using bun as the runtime? Short answer yes. You usually use a .env file, but with bun it's a bit simpler than Node.js. Let's break it down. What does bun need env? No extra library required. Unlike Node.js where you use .env, bun automatically loads .env environment variables and all. How bun handles environment variables? If you create this, then bun will automatically make them available in process.env and all. Example is gonna be something like this. Okay, no problem. If it is directly available, so nothing could be better than that. Having said that, I will ignore this dot when building the image. I want to ignore .env file as well. Forget about .ignore. But I'm definitely gonna be ignoring this. And when building the image, git ignore should be ignored as well. And docker ignore. If that itself gets ignored, then that's gonna be crazy. Alrighty. So let's build the image. Docker images. And these are the images that I have. I was working on them yesterday, so let me delete most of them because they are not required when it comes to the containers. So I have the PostgreSDB. This. All of them need to be deleted except PostgreSDB. So this is done. Coming back to the images, we have many. KDS backend, they are okay. They were important earlier. They are not important right now because I have done the learning part. So to do app, get rid of that. This doesn't need to be deleted. Apart from this particular thing, everything else, delete this. So this thing is done. Coming back to the volumes, I have only one. That's great. And there's nothing that I need to. Well, even we have some builds over here. Builds in the sense all the build that we made. Yeah, backend, oops, all these things. Few of them are still running. How about if I delete them? There are actually many, so even if I delete them, it's gonna be quite hectic work. Coming back to this one, docker build tag unstoppable the coder slash. What is this? This is the backend. So backend, okay, backend should be enough. That's fine, or probably not. Maybe I already have something called backend, so it should be. Let me check. Let me go to hub.docker.com. So inside this I have this KTH backend, KTH frontend, to do app, backend PG, Node, ECS, Node.js, to do app. Well, I don't have backend. Alrighty. In that case, unstoppable the coder slash backend and everything from the current directory, it's going to be built. Any problem with that? No problem as such. So ultimately image is going to be built, and remaining what we are going to be doing with the image we'll see. Okay, so this much is done, and once it is done, then the next thing is that docker run. Let me check the image first of all. Images. So yeah, I have this particular image. So docker run on port 3000 by 3000. By default it will be what, undefined. The port number is gonna be undefined. So even if I use this particular image here, if I run this, it is just simply saying that running on undefined. Great. That simply means until unless I provide the environment variables from my on side over here. So environment variable is gonna be port, and that's gonna be 3000. Format error, this is the port error that already exists. So docker process status docker kill, I'm gonna be killing this backend that is running right now. Control V, that's bad, that's been killed. And if I try to run the same again, it is just simply saying that it is running on that. So great, I should be able to get the result as well. So let me go to localhost 3000, and turns out yes, I am getting the result. Alright, great job. It is running inside the container. Docker process status docker kill, I'm gonna be just simply killing it from here, and I have to just simply remove some values. First of all, this backend one, then this backend one, then this backend one. Docker process status for all. I have one Postgres DB, that let that be here. Let's simply clear the terminal and continue from here on. So ultimately we have the Docker images. Docker push, this is the image that I want to push. So let's simply copy paste, enter. It is going to be pushed, and this is gonna be the right time to just simply create a config file as well. Gonna be amazing. By the way, let it be pushed, and the next thing is that once we have done it all, time to go back to the backend. For the backend, I'm gonna be creating a config map. So configmap.ml. okay, gonna be turning on the suggestions. It's good. So API version, I think that's v1 by default. Kind is gonna be config map, metadata, app config, namespace default, namespace, I'll have to check it, but okay, that is it. These many suggestions I need. Sorry, stop this, stop it. Yeah, so I was just simply saying that I want to stop the suggestions. For this config, I already have the code written. It is not like I don't have. So if I talk about the config, well, I don't have it yet here. Well, that's great. It's time to add that here. So config. We have gone through many things. Let's continue with this. Ingress, I haven't even checked this Ingress code. Forget about the config stuff here. Hopefully by right now, this is running. Such a good thing. Apps.coding the code.this. It is still not running. Nginx. Interesting. I never expected this thing to happen. I think it is over here on my load balancer side. If I go to the security, it is accepting HTTP requests, isn't it? And edit inbound rules. It is accepting both HTTP as well as HTTPS, so we don't really need to worry about the rules, inbound rules at all. That simply means the problem is from the environment variable side. I think even before that, sudo vi/etc/hosts. I haven't removed it from here yet, so let me remove it. This can also be the problematic thing. I thought it would work, but it only works with the IP addresses and all. I don't have the IP address, so alrighty, time to give it one more try. Time to copy it. DNS checker, and I'm not surprised because this DNS stuff does take time. It seems to be okay. Apps.coding the code.site. Da 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 na 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 na. Nginx not secure, not found. How about HTTPD? Not secure, not found. Okay, not a problem. We are not in a hurry. We will definitely get it done, but we will have to wait. What are we gonna be doing right now? We are gonna be going through the config maps. Okay, great. This thing is done. Try traffic ingress controller. Traffic is another popular ingress, ingress controller. There is something called traffic ingress controller. So traffic is another popular ingress controller. Let's try out. Well, I'm not gonna be trying out our apps using this. So using Helm, they can easily be installed. This is a good thing. And apart from this particular thing, kubectl ingress class, and we are gonna be having. I'm definitely gonna be exploring this part as well, but not now. Secrets and configs. So this is the one. By the way, why do we need secrets? What we have done so far, we have gone through clusters, nodes, pods, deployments, replica sets, services, namespaces, ingress controller, nginx. Not traffic. We haven't gone through that, and we are gonna be learning about config maps and secrets right now. So let's simply go through that. So Kubernetes suggests some standard configuration practices. These include these things. You should always create a deployment rather than creating naked pods. Obviously we do that, and that is the best way actually to just get the things done. Write configuration files using ML rather than JSON. Okay, configuration files should be stored in version control before being pushed to the cluster. Configuration files should be stored in a version control before being pushed to the cluster. That simply means GitHub, hopefully. Kubernetes version 1 API also gives you a way to store configuration of your application outside the image or pod. Kubernetes version 1 API also gives you a way to store configuration of your application outside the image or pod, outside the image. Okay, this is done using config maps. Ultimately, yeah, configuration can be there, that's fine. Or secrets, that's right. Rule of thumb. What is the rule of thumb? Don't break your application secrets in your don't bake your application secrets in your Docker image. Okay, got that. Pass them in as environment variables whenever you are starting a Docker container. So ultimately, what we are gonna be doing, we are gonna be creating config maps. What will config maps do? They are just simply key value pairs. And from the config maps, we are going to be getting the environment variables. Hence, we will not have to build the image with the environment variables, right? So that's the benefit of it. Config maps. A config map is an API object used to store non-confidential data. Again, non-confidential data like the dev mode, node env, port number and all. Non-confidential data in key value pairs. Pods can consume config maps as environment variables, command line arguments, or as configuration files in a volume. Configuration files in a volume in the sense you can create the whole key value pairs. So ultimately the key is gonna be .env, value is gonna be the value of all the environment variables, and then you can just simply, so I will be talking about that. Mount using the volumes, that is not called attaching. Okay, coming back to this one. When it comes to the config maps, so API version is gonna be 1. Kind is gonna be config map metadata. When it comes to the metadata, the app config, that's okay to have. Or by the way, this one is gonna be backend config anyway. So backend config. Namespace is gonna be what? The configuration for the backend team. Let's keep the namespace by default right now. Right now at least default. Data is gonna be what? We want port number. We want to store. I can even keep it like this, port. But even if I'm keeping it like this, that doesn't really matter. Either keep it like this or smaller, because at the end you have to just specify the name, and it is going to be what? Port 3000. Similarly, we will have what is that thing called? Node env, and that's gonna be equivalent to what? That's gonna be equivalent to development mode, just like this. So we have these. So sort of we have created this, right? And now we have to just simply apply this. As soon as we apply, it will be created. The question is, how will I be getting inside this when I'm running? Well, this is also wrong. I hope by now the image has been pushed to Docker Hub. So reload the page. This is the image that we have pushed here 8 minutes back, and this is the name of the image. I'm gonna be copying this, and I'm gonna be just simply saying that I want to use this image. Great, you want to use, that's amazing. What are gonna be the environment variables for this? That's what we have to mention here. So when it comes to the environment, kubectl describe config maps ecom, we can even describe this, starting this thing config. So ls cd, one step back, cd oops ls k apply file gonna be backend slash config map.ml, and inside this what I have these config variables and all. Let's simply apply them. There is a problem, there should be hyphen here as well, hyphen f. Okay, this is done, created k get config maps. This is the config map that I have created. Great, how many commands we have in my notes? I have to work on my notes as well. So kubectl get config maps, we can get them. Even we can convert the convert something into base 64. So like you can convert something in the base 64 format from base 64 format to the normal one. We will see how it's done and all. And apart from this particular thing, there are a few commands we can describe it if I'm not wrong. Cut it from here, paste it here. Then kubectl, whenever I write k, that stands for kubectl. So k apply, we applied f, and whatever config map.ml file that we had. Apart from this particular thing, we can even describe it, describing in the sense k describe, and I want to describe config map. What is the name of the config map? That is backend config here. Let's describe this. Alrighty, and here we are able to, such a good thing this is, that name is gonna be backend, namespace is default, label none, there's no label as such. Node env is the development, and port is gonna be this, and binary is, that's it. This is the data that I have inside my config. What will happen now? Now whenever I run the deployment, it will get the configuration from here. I mean all these values, environment variables, and the job will be done. So great. So let me even have this command here. So this is the command that I just ran. Copy it, Control C. Well, I don't really need to keep it, but it's better to just simply write all the commands. At least that's my way. Whether I'm ever gonna be having a look at them or not, that doesn't matter. Okay, so kubectl describe config map backend config. This way you can just simply get the configuration. Creating an express app that exposes environment variables. We have already created that app, and then it simply exposes them, sends them. So database URI environment variables, all these things, and then JSON.stringify environment variables, null and all. That's okay, fine. And Docker file containerizing, that we have even done that. Docker deploy to Docker Hub, we have even done that. Now trying to try accessing this image, we have even done that. Try running using Kubernetes locally, create the manifest express ML. Okay, just a minute. Deployment ecom selector replica 1, we are going with 2 replicas, and that is okay, we are done with that too. And we have to have the environment variables over here. So let me do one thing. There's this last thing remaining. I'm rather gonna be taking the help of a bit AI here, or I can just simply copy and paste. Let me turn on the AI. Am I crazy? Like the help of AI for writing the code, even it can be written directly. So what I want that, just below ports, if I'm not wrong. So ports I will have environment variable over here, and when it comes to environment variable, it will give me just overall structure. So it will help me write faster, nothing else. So I wanna have environment variables over here, and this is it's too much, but okay, never mind. Come on, yeah, done. So it has given me this. I will explain exactly what it is. So the main goal is that you are able to understand the code and nothing else. So ultimately you already understand these things. Let's talk about this one. So I'm just simply saying that I want environment variable. Okay, what is the name of the environment variable? The name of the environment variable is port. from a value from this. So the value of the port will be coming from config map keyref. Pretty simple. What is the name of the service? What is the name of the config that you have created? Backend config. What is the key inside that? The key is the port. Similarly, for the node environment, the value will be coming from the config map ref. The name is of the config is backend config we have created, and the key is gonna be this. So it's good to take the help of AI here. I mean, do let me know whether this is the right way or not. Like, you are able to understand everything. I just don't remember the format. For that thing we have the AI, and even I have saved that in my notes. So should I actually cram it, like, okay, after this comes, then this comes, then this comes, then this comes, or should I take it lightly? And what I think, I should take it lightly. Why to remember something that can be, that I can get using just a Google search, or even request to the chat GPT and all. So if something I can get directly, so I should be able to understand that. That should be more than enough. Cramming that, I don't think that is the best way. So simple. I want to get the environment variables. This is the name of the environment variable for the container. So it should be capital port, capitalized over here, because this is gonna be the main name. Value is gonna be coming from config map. The config map is this. The key inside that is gonna be this, and the job is done. By the way, that is it. Once we have gone with this, then we have to just simply apply this. Create the service. We have already created the service that exposes this, so no need to worry about it at all. And once this particular thing is done, we can apply that as well, and then we are going to be getting the result, and then we are going to be talking about the secret. Alrighty, so whatever we had to do, we've done that. Let's see whether it works or not. This Nginx stuff is not working. Time to figure it out exactly why it's taking so much time. Remaining things, let's simply get rid of them. I think it's not running now anymore. Yeah, so let's simply get rid of this. That was apps dot coding the code dot site. I hope that was the. Let me close everything. We have already gone through quite a lot of things. As for this configuration, we have already even configured that. We have to just simply start the backend here, and once the backend is started, then the backend will also start running. But that's not a big problem. Inside my Ingress, I have apps.codingthecode.site, right? So if I go to this particular URL /httpd, still not returning me. Nginx. I think now I need to check whether I'm actually getting the requests there or not. So how will I be checking that? Docker, not kget deploy, kget pods ingress nginx. This is the type of this, namespace for this. I have to check the logs for this one. So k logs of this controller namespace is gonna be ingress nginx. Simple. Run this. Well, I have to follow the logs as well. So these are the logs that I've got. What is the next thing? I'm gonna be making a request again. So reload the page. The request went. Did I get anything? Nothing. That simply means that URL is not working. If I just simply remove this, it's still not getting anything here. If I go to here, load balancer, copy this and paste it here. Enter. Didn't get anything. So that simply means the load balancer, I have it here. So kget svc services, services that belong to Ingress nginx. So this is the load balancer that we have. At the end of the day, it is running on this particular code. We already have this. That simply means the request should definitely be going there. And the funny thing is that we have made the AI write the code, so there's really less possibility of having the errors. apps.codingthecode.site/httpd. So ultimately I gotta wait. This is the only thing that that I can do. And once everything is done, by the way, meanwhile it is working. Let me start one more thing. Right now, k get pods all, no, all, how to get all the pods. Let's see how to get all the pods in Kubernetes. How can I get all the pods? K get kubectl get A stands for all namespace to see every pod. So that stands for this. Okay, that's great. So K get pods A. Okay, so these are the pods that are running right now. HTTPD team is running 2 pods, Nginx 3 and sorry Ingress 3, and then I have Nginx team. So ultimately these 2 pods are running too as well. Well, I'm trying to get the pod. I'm getting the team here. Well, such a bad thing. Why? I should be naming them. No, they are the namespaces. Come on, here. These are the apps. So the pod names are HTTPD deployment. So these are the pods. Okay, got it. I was having a look at the names, and I have to start the backend here as well. And in order to start a backend, if I want to start that, after starting the backend, I have to start restart the config as well, like Ingress config. So let me do that. ls k apply f backend manifest.ml. Let's simply run this. So well, backend team not found. So it is just simply saying that namespace is not there. Let's see. Do what? Don't I have the namespace? Backend manifest. So backend team is the name. API version kind backend team name. So I do have that. K apply backend manifest.ml. The manifest. Okay, that's crazy. What is the problem here? But when creating backend manifest ML, no names namespace is version 1 cannot be handled at namespace. No kind namespace is registered with version 1 in the okay. Got it. What should be the namespace of the kind? Sorry, names version of the namespace. Namespace version. The version 1 is the problem. So when it comes to the namespace. Namespace version. Namespace version Kubernetes namespace. It's better to just simply visit that namespace. अरे भाई creating new namespace version 1. So what is the problem? API version kind namespace name data. Most of the time whenever I created this namespace inside HTTPD, the version was this only. This should be namespace capital 1. So backend, this is the problem. Alrighty, give it one more try. This is done, and once it is done, so ultimately backend is running. So k get pods all. So right now I have a backend team. Backend pods are running. They are about to start. That's okay. And then I have to reapply k apply f and ingress ml. It will be configured, and try to get the pods again. So this way I have Ingress. This is just simply starting one to be completed here, but it's going to be configured very soon, sort of. Alrighty, so no need to worry about this. These are the pods that I have. It's better to just simply get them in one go, and this is the command to get that. Control Shift C. I'm gonna be pasting them in my notes. So this should be kubectl get pods for all. I mean get all the pods. So yeah, this is done. And when it comes to the configure, let me have some code here as well related to that. So code that's gonna be for what? Configure map.ml code for that. Namespace I already have the code for that, so no need to worry about that. The code for the config map I definitely need to have it. So I know this is right, whatever I've written here. So gonna be config map, copying it from here and gonna be pasting it over here. The another thing is that apart from this, there are gonna be actually n number of things. So it's better to cut this and /ts2 paste it here, and inside this I'm gonna be keeping it. Alrighty, so config map.ml, this is gonna be inside this. So this is the normal configuration. Apart from this particular thing, there's a way to just simply use this as well. So /code, and what is the way to just simply use this? This is the way to use this. So I'm gonna be just simply copying this deployment from here and gonna be pasting it over here. So deployment file, great. No need to just have the name. So got it, understood. So this is how I'm just simply gonna be going ahead with the things. So config map.ml I have. I'm gonna be having more things related to the config map, so that all of them are gonna be stored here. Interesting stuff. And right now let me try it for the last time. Hopefully it's gonna be working. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna be whenever I'm gonna go live, at that time I will start from here only. This hasn't started yet, Nginx, and this time even I can go to the backend. That is the I have this. That's great. To the same, if I actually go to the load balancer right now, service load balancer. So right now what is happening? The load balancer that I have, ls k get svc and ingress nginx, add this here as well. So cname backend, and the URL is gonna be the same. So let me go to here, copy this DNS name, and once copied I'm gonna be pasting it here, and let's simply add the record. So both of them have been added. I have apps and .code in the code.site, of course, and then I have my backend as well. As for these KTs, they are not quite required right now, so let me delete them from here. So both of them are gonna be deleted, and overall things are fine. Uploads, this is being used directly currently right now, and these are the ones that I have created right now. So great stuff, but there's only one problem, and that is they are not quite giving me the result yet. So I have to wait for a while, and then hopefully I will start. That's very like more than 95% chances, until unless I have made some mistakes. Alrighty then, so that should be it. Overall, whatever we were supposed to be doing, we have already done. Now I'm gonna be back after around 15 minutes or whenever this starts working, this particular URL starts working. At that time I'll be back, and then we will be talking about config maps, and then we'll talk about secrets. And once all these things are done, then I will be learning about volumes. And this way, within a couple of days, Kubernetes section, almost all the basic things that you need to deploy this stuff, that will be done. Then there are gonna be some advanced things that I will be running. Advanced things in the sense is scaling and all, that's still remaining. So yeah, that was it. Now I'm gonna be catching up soon. As soon as it starts working, I'll go live. Take care, bye bye, and keep coding.